Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Hey, Sarah Slean. You're the victor in our little computer adventure here, so thank you for this.
Woo!
Great to meet you.
Lovely to meet you as well.
And Sarah, we're greatly looking forward to you showing yourself in Vancouver so that we can meet in person. So, what's bringing you to Vancouver in October?
I am going to be performing with your glorious symphony in your exquisite venue, the Orpheum Theater. I'm very excited because the program is orchestrated Joni Mitchell, and it's not just any old orchestrated Joni Mitchell. This isn't a pops program that someone has thrown together. This is very special music. It's recorded, it was orchestrated by her collaborator Vince Mendoza, who is a giant in the jazz world, and he's won something like 26 Grammys. And it's the material that they chose for two albums they made just around like 2000 and 2002. Two albums called Travelogue. One was called Travelogue, and the other was called Both Sides Now. And they're both sort of concept albums, but they were it's music that was revisited, her older songs from all over her catalog, orchestrated in this kind of smoky jazz, beautiful kind of treatment that is, very uniquely Vince, but totally Joni Mitchell. And it just shows the versatility of her writing and how powerful her lyrics are. You can put them in literally any genre and they shine. So it's just a complete joy to be out on stage singing her work. She's an icon, she's a genius, she's a female genius. Is that even allowed in this culture? And she's just my hero. And so I love to play this music.
That's fantastic. And how did you come to Joni Mitchell? I mean,
I remember back in the days where we bought CDs and cassettes. I'm that old. So I remember my first CD player as a teenager. That was the album I was given. And it completely blew my mind. It was my companion for probably, all of my coming of age was that album, Blue. And it introduced me to her world, but I then grew up with her, exploring her catalog as it unfolded for her, kind of trying to go through it chronologically and to understand her development as an artist, and just being, some of it I didn't care for when I was younger. And now that I am, in my 40s with a child and I have all of these life experiences behind me, those are the albums I'm like, oh, you get it now because you can't really understand Hajira with a 20-year-old mind. So there's just so much richness there in her work. I think that's what true artists do is they metabolize their lives in their work, and they figure out existence as they're living through making music. And those are the artists that I love. These are Leonard Cohen's of the world and the Beethovens of this world, and Joni is definitely that, and there's evidence of it in her catalog.
she is absolutely a music icon. Now, it's fascinating for me also, Sarah, because what you're doing is something that, again, I would associate with a lot of jazz singers and people in other traditions as well. But you are also a songwriter and a singer in your own right, of course. So, how is it for you
Yeah.
to inhabit someone else's music?
I feel like in the art of interpretation is that it is an art, right? But I feel like there aren't too many artists I would feel comfortable walking into their to this deeply into their catalog, into their work. Who you'd have all those questions of like, well, who am I to be doing this, and does this work with my voice and my aesthetic and all of these things. And with Joni, I just feel like my love for the music is so pure. My respect for her extraordinary talent is pure. And I try to sing it as well as I possibly can, honoring specifically the words. I mean, the music's unbelievable. Her playing is unbelievable and unique, and has her original stamp all over it. But to me, it's the lyrics that are quite they're so exceptional. It's so uniquely signature Joni. It has such idiosyncratic weight. There's such a signature to it. And so yeah, I love to my when I go into these programs, I just think, like no one loves this music maybe more than I do. So that I feel like gives me the right to attempt to. I mean, also singing this as an interpreter, no one's expecting a Joni impersonation, I feel like that would be completely cheesy and absolutely the wrong approach. Um,
Yeah.
I go in singing it with my voice, in my experience. I have a totally different story in the music world because we're from totally different times, right? But there's a
Yeah.
thread of similarity. Of course, Joni is world famous and globally influential, and that does not apply
Sure.
in this case. But there's
No,
coming of age
don't
as an
sell yourself
artist.
short there. Yes.
Coming of age as an artist in the music industry is a very unique experience, and there are unique challenges and perspectives in that, and I related to those very deeply. So I feel like, you know to young women especially, um, who are creative and who strive to be creative and excellent, who strive to be excellent in the arts, in this culture. It's look, you can't have a better example than Joni. She made some very difficult decisions in her life to prioritize being an artist, to honor the call that she heard within her, even though all of society was going to frown upon those things that she decided to do. So again, I have just, unending respect for her and the bravery it took to become her full authentic self in a world, very hostile at times to authentic people.
Hopefully times have changed enough and that we can reassess the past in a reasoned way now with the values that we have. And so thank you again for bringing this forward, because the role that she shared with all of us, and what you're pointing out, the love that is apparent through the interpretation as well that you're bringing, is something we're all looking forward to. Now,
Yay.
have you worked with a large ensemble like this often before? I know you've
Yes.
recorded with strings and with other smaller ensembles of what we think of as classical instruments,
Hmm.
but how about this with an
Well,
orchestra?
yeah, I came to this particular program, this material, when I was invited to sing with the Saskatoon Symphony Orchestra in 2018. Vince Mendoza was flown in to conduct, which is incredible. I got to meet him working with the orchestra in front of his own scores. I ordered a copy of the set of the scores for myself because I'm such a huge fan. So, and I got to ask him some questions and really, you know, watch him work, which is very exciting for me musically. Um, but I was totally honored and blindsided by the invitation. What a thrilling moment to play that in her hometown. We were in Saskatoon, and it sort of snowballed from there. From then on, I played it with the Niagara Symphony, the Regina Symphony, Calgary Philharmonic. There'll be two more next year, and it's just, you know, I think there might be, I can't speak to this now, but I think there may be a part two in Saskatoon. But I've always, I started playing with orchestras a few sort when I was in the middle of the pop thing that I was doing. There were a few invitations here and there. The Toronto Symphony, I played with the Toronto Symphony in 2003. And then there were people, composers and professors discovered that this pop singer was also literate. I also had a degree in music, and oh, I wonder if she would sing this. And I began to collaborate more and more with the classical world, and I felt my dying inspiration in the pop world collided and kind of just gravitated, just migrated over to the classical world, where I felt renewed and inspired all over again. It was new terrain, and I could take these skills that I'd acquired here and apply them in a different way, and in a way that was kind of exciting to me and to some people in the classical world, because I was not your typical classical singer with all of that baggage behind me, right? I was, kind of this like weirdo from the pop rock world, but I could read and learn a score. So that gave me a unique ticket into these really fascinating projects that helped me not become cynical about music. It helped me not leave music, really, truly. I made this incredible project with the professor from U of T, Christos Hatsis, who is a
Yes.
composer, very celebrated composer in this country. And we were nominated for a Juno last year for this classical hybrid project we made with the Symphony Nova Scotia. So that I really tell young artists whenever I'm mentoring people, it's just like you got to follow where you get the sparkles, where you feel the whoosh, where you feel your mind, your skills, your spirit become alert and engaged. And for a while, that had been waning for me in pop rock. I just felt like I was going around and around in the same hamster wheel, and great things were happening, and I was making records I was proud of, but it wasn't grabbing me anymore. I wasn't lighting up anymore. And that migration over to classical really, all the lights went back on. And so it's really, it's becoming very fruitful, including this, which is a real dream project.
Well, we are certainly thrilled to have you coming for this project. And who knows, perhaps our future can also include some other excitement as well. So let's keep communication lines open.
Absolutely. In fact, I am working on, when the pandemic hit, I decided I was going to do a master's because I had a child and I was a new child and I was at home and I thought, I wonder if if universities are online, I should do a master's. I've always wanted to do one. So I'm doing a master's in music composition and I am creating a work because I love working with orchestras so much. And it has refilled my cup, as I've already mentioned. I am composing a large scale work for orchestra and voice, and I'm hoping to take, like, this is for my master's degree. So I'm hoping that when that is finished, there'll be a recording and possibly some touring and all that. So put that in your pipe.
Excellent. Excellent. That's something definitely to look forward to in addition to what's coming up now. That's
Thank you,
fabulous.
Pierre.
Thank you, Sarah, so much. And is there anything else that you think would be useful to add for people to know about?
Well, the show is uh, I will just want to say two things about, you can edit this however you'd like, but
Absolutely.
these two albums are very of Joni's are extremely, some of them, like I think Travelogue is less known than the Both Sides Now album, but
Yes.
Travelogue is it's like a double CD set of work of hers spanning her entire catalog, these songs, but reorchestrated with Vince Mendoza's incredible orchestration and Joni's low, smoky jazz voice. And the package of this album is extraordinary. It's full of her paintings. It's really an absolute work of modern art, this thing. So there's lots of selections from Travelogue. And then the second one, Both Sides Now, is a kind of concept record where they envisioned the lifespan of infatuation to relationship to dissolution of the relationship. So it's the arc of an infatuation, I guess. And that's the whole kind of the story, the narrative that knits this thing together. So included on that record are some jazz standards: At Last, Stormy Weather, You're My Thrill, and Answer Me My Love. Now this is where Vince Mendoza, you can see, you can hear, this is his jam. He's been orchestrating jazz big band and jazz orchestra his entire career. So he really, really shines on those ones. And though we'll put a few of those in the set. And I do explain the concept record, Both Sides Now, and why we are singing jazz standards at a Joni concert. But they're gorgeous, and it really does showcase the musicians in the orchestra incredibly well. So orchestra fans, VSO supporters, VSO lovers will thoroughly enjoy that.
Thank you so much. We certainly look forward to it.
Awesome, me too. Mhm.
And thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Paris. I'll see you in October.
See you then.